everyone, friends and furs of all species. I'm Daisy Hyena. We're back with another episode of Roman's Christmas. Last time, Ananias, our poor guy, was killed and we investigated his murder. Unfortunately, it seems that we did it, but we didn't do it. That's what sucks. So, we're going to have this trial, and hopefully it is not us who goes down. Darby took off the mask he wore during his autopsy. You may start now. Harn looked down and whispered. Unto God's gracious mercy and protection we commit you. The Lord bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you, and may he be gracious unto you both now and evermore. Amen. Lunac and Solar were sitting facing towards each other. That's opposite of towards each other. I'm pretty sure nobody will agree to this, but is there anyone who thinks Ananias died from accident?
No, I got a theory, but I'm not sure it's polite to say.
No games, Peter, just talk.
I've heard rumors that some people strangle themselves on purpose to increase pleasure for—
Autoerotic asphyxiation. What kind of rumors do you listen to? They're not rumors. There are some people out there. To each their own. Not my vibe, but go for it.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's totally unrelated and completely unimportant to both me or the case at the moment.
How could somebody do something so— Oh wow, he's pissed. Look at his eyes. Let's save the moral outrage for later. Let's save the moral outrage for later, alright? Let's focus on what we can gather from the evidence. Damn, that mad about somebody beating their meat. I'm pretty sure this isn't a case of sexual asphyxia. It seems to contradict the evidence. To prove that Ananias did not die from sexual asphyxiation. It's autoerotic asphyxiation. The arrow reached the pleural. The wound bled little. Strangle marks. The arrow reached the part of his lung. The arrow stuck in his chest seemed to be inserted quite deep.
The arrow was deep enough to penetrate his pleural cavity and possibly his lung. If it did, his lung would have collapsed due to the pressure difference.
I'm pretty sure even a masochist would have trouble with such a self-inflicted wound.
Also, if this was sexual asphyxia, the rope he used would still be on his neck.
Maybe we can ignore the scars for the time being. Alright, we could basically rule out accidental death for now. It's time to figure out the likely suspects. First, we can exclude the 3 people in the attic for the reason is simple. When you lift the ladder, it makes a squeaking sound. Because there would be a loud friction sound when the ladder in the attic is dragged up and down, but no one heard it. True enough, but we could angle the range of possible suspects further. If we exclude Marquis Lunac can be ruled out since he was the night watcher last night, but I will need you to testify further. No, he cannot be ruled out because he was the night watcher. He's my personal number 1 suspect. But of course, then the possible suspects can be narrowed down to Peter, Heron, Elegance, Marquis, Solar, and myself. It's alright, I didn't do it anyway. The important thing is to find the murderer. I mean, honestly, if you excluded yourself, that might make you either look like an asshole or a little bit more guilty. Like, it's whatever. So I want to hear from Marquis Solar's testimony first. Did you notice anything abnormal last night? I'll need all the details, no matter if you're unsure about it or not. If you say so, Mr. Detective. I didn't sleep well last night, possibly because of the medicine. But instead of leaving the room, I laid on the bed and tried to sleep. While I was on the bed, I heard some abnormal sounds, like friction sound of someone trying to shift something outside. It was quite clear. Something smells fishy. Oh. found a root potion. The medicine didn't work on you? I couldn't get to sleep even after I took all the medicine. Then you would have time to commit the crime instead of sleeping. Which part? Didn't leave the room. So you stayed in your room all night? It's unsuitable for ladies to go out casually at night. Rubbing sound? A friction sound. Can you elaborate on that? It sounded like footsteps. It was louder when I first noticed that, and the volume was getting lower and lower until it was almost inaudible. Then it became louder once more. And then it went down again. Hey. That was probably somebody exiting, moving around, and entering again. Could be heard clearly. You appear to have heard it quite well. There wasn't any wind howling last night, so I heard it clearly. Please add what you just mentioned to the testimony. With pleasure. Please testify again. I fell asleep really late last night. As a lady, I didn't want to leave my room casually. While I was in bed, I did hear sounds like footsteps. It was quite a night, so I heard it quite clearly. Wait a sec. What happened? Something sounds suspicious in your testimony. What is the contradiction in Solar's testimony? Case notes. The notes on a serial murder at third. Oh yeah. Lunic said that the snow was so loud there was no. Marquis Lunic was the night watch last night downstairs. According to his own words, the snow was very heavy at night. And you mentioned that it was quiet at night. I'm afraid that's not possible. Well, that might be because I was nervous. I was in bed listening to the footsteps outside. But I did hear it, I swear. Fine, I would note it down first. So, Solar heard a difference in the sound because... What could have caused the sound Solar heard to change its volume? But distance, strength... The distance. The suspect was moving on the ledge outside the tavern, so their distance from Solar's room also changed. The footsteps sounded faint when far away, then grew louder as they got closer. In other words, it was because of the suspect's movements. From the map of the tavern, when the suspect committed the crime, they must have passed Solar's room twice. Oh, yeah. Went out there, went around. Why is it coming from Heron's? I thought it was Sean's room that it... Okay, the suspect first passed by Solar's room on the ledge outside. At that time, the noise the suspect made had not yet attracted Solar's attention. When Solar finally heard the noise, the suspect was already on the ledge past her room. As the suspect continued to walk towards Anais' room, their footsteps were getting quieter as well. Outside Anais' room, the suspect entered the room and murdered Anais. After committing the crime, the suspect returned along the same path and passed outside Solar's room again. Yeah, they just screwing Heron right there. Could have been Peter, but no. As the suspect returned to their own room, the footsteps grew progressively quieter until they disappeared. This can explain why the sound of the footsteps that Marquis Solar had heard changed from loud to quiet, then loud again, then disappeared. The possible suspects are narrowed down to 2 people. Peter is suspect 1. That seems possible considering the position of his room. Who else? Heron is suspect 4. In other words, Heron and Peter, who are staying in the rooms on the right, had to pass by Solar's room if they were going to commit crimes to Ananias' room.
Wait!
What?
The ledge outside Sean's room broke down decades ago.
Oh. But it's still possible if the murderer jumped over the gate.
You can't easily jump over such a big gap unless you're Sauron.
If the murderer didn't come from the rooms on the right side, it wouldn't have made that kind of sound. Then how do you explain Solar's testimony? Perhaps she had it wrong.
I know exactly what I heard. That means
we are the only two suspects. And I know clearly that I am innocent. Which means you are the culprit. Anyway, care to tell me what you did last night?
Why me?
Also, I'll testify after you.
Very well. You know, if the murderer did break into the room from the outside, then we are the only two suspects. I was sleeping the whole evening, and I'm unsure of how to prove my innocence. But I have no motive to kill Ananias.
Suspect. The range of suspects could be expanded.
Then who else might be involved?
I'm not sure at the moment. Alibi. Are you sure you don't have an alibi at all?
What can I say?
See, this is why you need to sleep with people, alright? Then we have other people in the room, and that's your alibi. Motive for the killing? What about a motive?
I knew him for less than 2 days, and he had nothing to do with my mission.
There's also the fact that Ananias' name was crossed out in your notebook.
Must we do the same song and dance routine? No, my notebook is not a kill list or anything else. And are you not more suspicious than I? You suddenly develop a cold, and then there are traces of snow in your room. Most importantly, the arrow from your drawer was found in the wound.
Shit! What?
It will not help it if you hide the evidence you have, especially in this kind of situation. Hiding that from everyone is the exact thing a murderer wants you to do. Even if the evidence suggests you did it. It would make you look suspicious indeed. However, we must leave no stone unturned in order to find the truth.
Got it. So when exactly did you go through my drawer?
Time to testify, are you ready?
I am ready. Just explain the doubts one by one would be good. But can that solve this? Why was the window open? Opened by someone else. I closed my window before I went to bed last night, but when I woke up this morning, the window was open. I think it was because somebody opened the window. How could I catch a cold at this time? Why now? Stars gave me back. The window was open. The windows were open, so my room was flooded with cool air all night. That's why it was so cold. But then what about the arrow in the drawer? Evidence from last case. Weapon prepared in advance. Evidence from last case. It's the evidence from the last official case I was on. I came to the Winter Star before coming back to the agency to drop off the evidence because it was on the way. I didn't want anyone discovering it, so I also hid the arrow in the drawer. The rest of the evidence in my backpack matches it. Why is the arrow inserted into its chest? The killer plugged it in. The arrow should have been inserted by the murderer who stole it based on the evidence at the moment. Am I not motivated to kill him? Yes. Strictly speaking, yes, I did have a possible motive. Because last night, Ananias asked me to pay him back some money. And the evidence at the scene. Which piece of evidence proves I'm motivated? That is, it has an empty wallet, right? But his wallet was empty. The clothes on Ananias' nightstand made me very concerned. What's odd about the clothes on Ananias' nightstand? Clothes on the nightstand, his key. His wallet is empty, his belt was pulled out, his wallet was empty. His wallet is empty. I could have been angry because he asked me for money, then killed him while he was asleep and took back my money. But that really just a little bit. Now that I can explain. When he paid for the room key yesterday, he asked me to take care of his extra money while he was here. Why would he do that? To prevent him from gambling again, I guess. Anyway, getting to guard such a large fortune made me feel a bit dragonish again. I love that. That kind of makes sense. I guess I'm free of suspicion. No, you're not, but okay. La victoire es mienne. What? I have figured out how the murderer committed this vicious crime. Huh? Are you seriously trying to steal my job? First, the murderer assembled the collapsible arrow found in Miozon's detective's drawer, then tied a string to the end of the arrow as a tether. Then he climbed outside the window and skulked like a thief to Anas's room by using the ledge. The clever murderer opened the window, killed Anas on his bed, then pulled the string in an attempt to retrieve the arrow. But because the arrow had been disassembled and assembled repeatedly, the arrow came apart. Quell surprised, the murderer only received back the half the arrow. The murderer then returned to his room along the way back, with nobody the wiser.
This does explain a lot, but something seems to be missing. Rabbit seems suspicious if you look at it that way. Coming to Anas's room in that way? Now returning to his room, leaving footprints on the ledge outside the window.
Everyone looked at me, eyes full of doubt. I was biting my thumb. I need to hurry and give an explanation or else I'll end up as the murderer. I look at Elegant and she looked at me too.
Although I believe, given your intelligence and character, you would not commit such a crime.
You had better prove it. It does make sense when you first hear it, but the evidence contradicts it.
How interesting.
Which evidence contradicts Lunac's guess? If it was the string, like they thought, that wouldn't explain the marks on his neck. The problem is with the body. Elegant, clearly relieved, relaxed her tight shoulders. I don't think Anais was killed by the arrow. Why was Anais' death not caused by the arrow injury? It wasn't bleeding, was it? The arrow reached, the wound bled a little, the wound bled little. Because the wound was hardly bleeding. I knew that was strange because a lung shot is a lot of blood. There's a lot of important vessels because the lungs are where your blood receive oxygen and carry it throughout your body. So there is a lot of vessels there. If you get shot there, you're more than likely you're going to drown in your own blood. Plus, the marking on his neck suggests Anais' cause of death was suffocation. How much difference could a cause of death make, bitch? What? A lot, because it suggests that the arrow in his chest was used to throw suspicion on me and muddle the actual evidence. And this method seems familiar to me. Where have I seen Lunac's theory before? Your book. Case notes, right? Yeah. So, yeah, see, the victims were found near windows, dead from blood loss, single wound. And, they used a string, yeah. You know, the case I completed in Sunnyvale seems very similar to your guess. What are you talking about, Monsieur Detective? Whether it's the bow and arrow or the method of recovering the weapon with the string. Don't you think it's too similar to be described as mere coincidence? Some scholars believe that criminals tend to commit crimes following familiar methodologies. Par consequent, it's not surprising you would do this. But there's others here who, like me, are very familiar with this case. Lunic. It was Lunic. And, of course, by extension, Solar. One of them is Solar. You were there the day I solved the case, and I also reported to you in detail about the investigation. If someone could frame me in this way, it can only be one of you.
Impossible! Neither my husband nor I are that kind of. But shouldn't your window have been unlocked unless the culprit came through your room?
Of course not!
Why are you so sure?
Very simple, because you said.
The murderer opened the window, killed the mouse on his bed with the arrow, then pulled the string to retrieve the arrow.
Now that the murderer can open a nice window, would it be so difficult for him to also open mine?
Then how did he open it? Just guessing should not be enough to be admissible as evidence.
The window had a drop-off lock. If he inserted a significant thin, hard object through the window gate like a dagger, he could push the lock lever away from the locked position. It's not that difficult, right?
However, you and the Grey Cat are still the only two suspects. My name is Elegant. Also, I suddenly realized something. The scope of the suspects was wrong, because we were wrong about the suspect's starting point this whole time.
What starting point? He started in the hall, went upstairs, and came down. That's why Saren slipped. It was snow on the stairs that had melted.
The starting point where the suspect climbed out of the inside of the room to the ledge.
Where did the suspect move to the outside? Vincel's room. The suspect moved to the outside from the window in Vincel's room.
Then how do you explain the sound?
That was...
What I heard was not so precise. I withdraw my testimony.
I'm afraid it's a bit too late for that, Marquis. Where did the suspect move to the outside? The suspect moved to the outside from the window in Ananias' room. I forgot. The suspect... Okay. The suspect was in Ananias' room from the beginning. The suspect moved to the outside from the window in Ananias' room. After strangling Ananias, the criminal climbed back out the window and made their way towards my room. After removing the window lock from the outside, they checked my nightstand and backpack, took the arrow, and returned to Ananias' room. They stabbed the arrow into Ananias' chest, then climbed out the window again.
Sword!
What? Now, was it not established that the suspect can only return to that room through the window from the outside, right? Then the range of suspects hasn't changed at all. No, the criminal went to another room. From which window did the suspect leave the outside? Vincel's window. The suspect left the outside through the window in Vincel's room. Vincel's room is now empty. They could just jump in from there. I think Saren didn't lock that room last night. It seems I didn't. In that case, it makes sense.
Wait, please!
If you think that mere words are enough to prove... No, I have the conclusive evidence. Which piece of evidence can prove that the murderer left from Vincel's room? The footprints, right? Yeah. The deepest footprints are outside Vincel's window, indicating that that was the last place the murderer passed by.
But that doesn't prove that they entered the room.
Which piece of evidence can prove that the murderer left from Vincel's room? The window was not open and there was water stains on the sill. Please check Vincel's window out. Although the window is closed now, there is a puddle of water on the windowsill. That means... Why was there water on the windowsill? The killer brought it in. When the murderer entered the room, they brought the snow outside into the room. Moreover, the murderer went downstairs. What evidence can prove that the murderer went downstairs? Sarin slip, right? Sarin. Squeaking sound, slipped on when he was... Sarin said that he fell when he went downstairs. And there is a puddle of water on the stairs. It shows that the snow on the murderer was tracked on the stairs. Now that you said no one came downstairs last night, I think it's already clear who the suspect is. First, let's talk about the weapon. What is the weapon? It's gonna be the hemp rope. Not rope, belt, right? The belt, there you go. Here's the lethal weapon. What is the weapon? Clothes on the nightstand, and his key, empty wallet, belt was pulled out. It's Ananias' belt. He had bandaged strangulation marks on his neck, and I believe that's what caused them. The arrow was struck in him after his death. Here's how things played out. Okay. First, 6. The suspect entered Ananias' room through the door. 2. The suspect strangled Ananias with the belt. 7. The suspect entered Roman's room to collect the arrow. 3. The suspect went back to use the arrow. And 4. The suspect left Vincel's room. This is a sequence of events. The murderer is... There's a murderer. Lunac. Lunac is the murderer. What are you talking about?
Mr. Detective, please!
I'll explain this whole case, including your motives and your tricks. You will cease the slander immediately or I... Sorry, Marquis, but I have to. About the motive? According to our inference, you entered Ananias' room through the door. Now here's the question. Why did you enter his room at midnight?
It seems you two had a long conversation with deciding who would be the night watchman. And Ananias is naked.
Oh.
Stop! Stop! Shut up!
Why was Ananias naked? Lunac undressed Ananias. Undressed himself. Ananias undressed himself. Ananias undressed himself.
Was he used to sleeping naked?
I have no idea, but I think he wasn't undressed to sleep.
What then?
I think he undressed because clothes would have gotten in the way.
Are you trying to imply something?
It's entirely possible that Lunac and Ananias were involved in a homosexual affair.
That's impossible. How could someone be like that? Even if it is true, my husband would never. So you mean Lunac had sex with Ananias before he killed him?
Damn! I told y'all earlier, I love drama. I live for this. Yes, come on, Jerry Springer, let's go. Elegant hesitated but continued anyway.
Dare I ask who was the top?
Ananias was totally top. I'm not even gonna lie.
I don't believe.
Silence! You dare slander moi! You have no evidence. You will be punished by God for your lies.
No evidence? Then what do you call this?
Elegant raised her paw, showing a pinch of gray fur.
I found it on the bed.
No, I made sure. Back to the motive. What was Lunic's motive? Blackmail. Obvious. I'm guessing Lunic was blackmailed by Anais. So to prevent his secret from coming to light, Lunic had to kill him. It would be easy given how much alcohol and Valerian potion Inez had consumed.
To say nothing of the, vigorous workout.
I love you, Elegant. That too. Anyway, even Anais could be strangled to death under those conditions. Damn. I just thought I slept naked. I sleep naked. In other words, case playback. Last night evening, Lunic and Anais agreed to meet in Inez's room at night. When everyone was asleep, Lunic quietly went upstairs and came to Anais' door. Did Anais lock the door? No, that he did not. Anais didn't lock the door.
If he didn't...
Oh, wait. Then he locked it. Yeah, oops. After that, Anais made some demands in exchange for keeping the secret. Oh, wow. What was Lunic's reaction? Agreed. Kill him. In order not to be blackmailed, Lunic strangled Anais from behind with a belt on the bedside, leaving the marks on his neck. While thinking about how to find a scapegoat, Lunic remembered the case I had solved. So when Lunic climbed out of Anais' window, made his way down the ledge to my room, lifted up the window lock, and opened the window to my room. Aw, look at sleeping... there's sleeping Roman. He took the arrow from my drawer, returned to Anais' room, put the dead body into a sleeping position, then stabbed him with the arrow to make it a wound. Then he left the room through the window, opened Vincel's window, and returned from the unoccupied Vincel's room. He brought the snow outside into the room, leaving a puddle of water after it melted the next day. The snow on him fell when Lunic went downstairs, so it was melted snow on the stairs. Oh no! The next day, Saren stepped on that puddle when he went downstairs and slipped. A clever trick, but you underestimated me too much. Uh-oh, he's gonna try to kill us, huh? Magnifique, Monsieur Detective. Well done. Man, he went through the 7 stages of grief, or like the 5 stages of grief in like 2 seconds. Huh? You're not going to deny it? Why should I? Seems you know your situation well. Just as being, but it doesn't matter. Whether I deny it or not, you cannot touch me. What are you saying? You murdered someone so Roman can sentence you. None of you are of the nobility. Oh, you don't even have a proper judge right now. I'm with my man Peter. What are you?
The hideous code stipulates that a common-born judge may not sit in judgment over a noble. Remember I told you this earlier.
Wouldn't it be possible to? If you so much as think of trying to tie me up with that feline merchant, I will see to it that your business is destroyed. How could this be? Does this mean this whole investigation was in vain? Do you understand? Then I suggest that you all forget this ever happened. Lunic sneered at us like we were insects. Yes, I killed that useless muscle-bound oaf. What of it? My only regret, Monsieur Detective, is that you and your cat friend are so good at figuring out extramarital affairs. What? Last night, I asked Anaya... Hey, yo, what? Lunic's sneer froze and a look of shock and dark red stain began to spread across his forest green coat. The dark green cloth made the red blood look even darker, as though his malice was leaking out of the wound. Ew. Luna collapsed on the carpet, the blood from the stab wound slowly pooled under him. The bloody knife clattered to the floor. Solar stood still, but tears dripped down her fur. What? What happened?
I don't know.
Solar dropped down, squatting beside Lunik, who was still convulsing and letting out gargled gasps. Soren took half step forward, but I quickly stopped him. What are you doing? Soren glared at me, his voice in a snarl of anger. No, don't. It's not safe to approach now. But the Marquis! Even if we wanted to do something, a stab wound like that is fatal.
I'm sorry. I don't know what it would be like this.
Solar was wailing. Elegant quietly approached her and picked up the dropped dagger.
Darling, I'm sorry. I really don't want to.
Thrivey ran down the stairs carrying his first aid kit, pushing Harren out of the way as he started to rush to Lunik.
I'm sorry.
Solar collapsed on the carpet and Thrivey hurried and turned her over.
She just fainted, it's fine.
It's fine? What about Lunik? Thrivey put his hand on Lunik's chest, then his throat, and then sighed and shook his head.
I'm afraid he's gone.
God has his own arrangements. One case down, one more to...
I do not think so.
Why?
You already forgot.
According to Helios
code,
the common-born judge may not sit in judgment over a noble.
As Marquis, Solar is also sheltered by that statue. In other words, we can't legally do anything about Solar. And I see no reason to.
She's still a murderer. But she literally just killed. But there's nothing I can do about it now. Whatever I say doesn't matter.
Solar woke up.
Okay, I'll talk with her. Solar was sprawling ungracefully in an armchair by the fire and didn't look at me as I approached her.
I don't know what I'm doing. Really?
Here to tell me what's going on with that dagger that you were carrying?
The dagger? It was a gift from my mother the night before I got married.
I'm not noble, and I will never claim to be noble, but isn't China or something a little bit more? Maybe a blender? I'm joking. I know they're in the past, they can't use blenders yet, but anything else? Dress? Shoes? I don't know. Anything but a dagger?
She told me. Mother, why are you so late? I'd hope I could give this to you before you were wed. Here, take it. This is a dagger. The night before I married your father, my mother gave it to me, like her mother before her. Why did she give you a dagger? This is no ordinary dagger. It is a memento, a talisman, that will ensure your husband remains faithful and kind.
Oh, geez.
I see. Thank you, Mother. Make sure you keep it close and suggest hiding it in the inner pocket of your dress like I do.
I doubt the dagger was actually magical, but it did its job one way or another. Then why did you? I suddenly feel like this isn't a good question.
I don't know. When he was glowing like that, I just saw red. Why didn't he tell me? I thought he acted like this because he was worried under stress of financial pressure. I always thought if I helped him share the burden, give him time to rest, then he would.
Solar ducked her head and whimpered.
It was like my body moved on instinct. When I came to, I was already holding a knife and standing behind him. Is this the point where you tell me the verdict?
Truth be told, I can't do anything. Although I'd like to see you accept punishment you deserve, my paws are tied. When the snow stops, I'll hand you over to the proper authorities.
Thank you.
Go back to your room. I'll bring you some food later. Since so much has happened, I'd wager you'd prefer to be alone right now.
Soren handed me a key.
Indeed. Thank you, Detective.
Solar took the key, delicately wiped her eyes, and silently went upstairs. I figured you'd want to tie her hands at least.
No need for that, I think. I'd probably have done the same thing if I was in her position.
Yeah, a lion cheating, significant other will drive you crazy, unfortunately.
Besides, I'm not used to being so rude to a lady.
It's not unreasonable. Soren sighed and sat in the chair opposite of me.
Can't believe something like that happened.
It's not like we could have known.
And then I really can't imagine it.
As a drinking buddy of his for so long, even I didn't realize. Then again, maybe he didn't want to let others know that.
I don't quite believe your reasoning. Anais wasn't the kind of guy who'd blackmail someone.
I don't think so either. But from Lunac's point of view, it was probably his only option. He couldn't just risk the scandal getting out. Soren stood up and dusted off his hands.
I should go fix lunch.
Peter strode towards me, his expression hostile.
You? Didn't you say that you would protect everyone?
What?
First Cain, then a Nox, now Ines. Even, are you doing this on purpose?
Slap him! Peter was shouting loud enough that the other guests in the halls looked over. It's not like I can just magically...
Bullshit, for all we know! You're just manipulating us so you can satisfy your desire to solve murder! Bah!
Do you seriously hear what you're saying right now? You think I enjoy watching the people I care about die? You think anybody, least of all me, is happy about what's been going on?
Sorry.
Peter took 2 steps back, then turned and bolted upstairs. It's too hot by the hearth. Let's choose another place. The only remaining trace of Lunac's present had been reduced to a few red smears on the carpet.
Hardly a satisfying solution,
I guess.
By the way, this is for you.
Elegant handed me a collection of gray hairs and winked. What?
I took it out of the washstand.
You what?
A thank you should suffice.
This bitch smart. I love her. Man, marry her, okay? I know you're a bachelor right now and you're cool with that. This bitch is the real one. Go with her. A thank you?
Is it really necessary to shout, Roman?
You lied to me! Presented fake evidence and you still want me to thank you?
Calm down. No need for that.
You were this close to ruining my entire career and you want me to thank you? Oh, Roman, don't conceal evidence, and then you took my hair and pretended it was Lunac's to... Ugh! I stomped upstairs and decided not to go downstairs until it was time to eat. I slammed the door shut behind me and fell into the bed, burying my muzzle in the pillow. I heard footsteps hurrying upstairs, but I didn't care. Hey! Mobile Requin. We share a long time before dawn. Not to spoil the mood or nothing, but your wife is literally just down the hall. Bleh. She's so important right now. Yeah, but if she catches us, you're completely screwed, you know. Uh-oh. I mean, her family is pretty influential in Cordoba, and a Marquis getting railed by a dock worker ain't the sort of thing my reputation recovers from. Don't get me wrong, I'd still love you if you were some penniless bum on the street. But just in case, it might be a smart idea to set up a little something between us just as a backup. And how, mon Dieu, was she found out, huh?
But given how much noise you make, I'm surprised she hasn't noticed by now. Ah, come on, I was just messing with you, loony. Oh, yes, teasing me, are you? I mean, you're always such a tease. And perhaps it's my turn to take the initiative. Well, climb up on then.
Uh-oh. I mean... I need something to eat. In the next episode! Golly, that was a ride! Oh my god! Oh my god! There was so much to unpack there! Oh my god! That is crazy. But I love it! I love drama. That was awesome. That's some Jerry Springer show-esque drama. That dagger was pretty good at its job, I guess. Man, I know it's, bad to speak of the dead, you know, in any profane way, but Anus was working that ass in! Okay. So, unfortunately, that is how it turned out. I mean, Roman was right to be mad at Elegant because she almost ruined his entire career with fake evidence. But nowadays, that's very common, is to have fake evidence to make somebody confess. Like, police can lie to you all the time. They're legally allowed to do that, and you're not allowed to lie to them. I don't know why. But, anyway, so, I guess since it's a common practice now, it doesn't affect me like it affects him. But, I mean, he's right. That is kind of fucked. But I think she is your number one to go to, alright? She has your back, and I stand by that. Anyway, if you like what you see, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you can see my content in the future. Also, if you have any game suggestions or you just want to say hi, leave it down in the comment section below. I'm DC Hyena. I'll catch you on the next vid.